What's up, guys? Welcome to the Still Open Podcast. I'm Cayne.
Yo, it's Ace. What's going on?
You know how we do. We talk everything from sports to relationships to what's going on in the world today, current events, all that stuff. So we'll get right on into it. How was the weekend, man?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I went to the movies this weekend. I went and saw Accountant 2. I was not pleased. I saw the hype. It looked great. Everything looked good. Went there. There was things that didn't add up. This dude spending freaking, 5 minutes in his hotel hyping himself up for a thing he didn't get. Not going to ruin it for everybody, but for something he didn't get, where the heck did that go? Lady saying that doesn't have a kid. What the hell does that mean? You know the part. I think you saw it. You said you saw it, right?
Yeah. Oh,
There,
yeah. I'm
there,
gonna,
there
I'm
was
gonna, I'm gonna get at you about your take on this. I don't like that.
so many things, and also his acting. I didn't like his acting because his cadence was off from the first movie compared to the second one. Obviously, he's a little skinny. He's a lot skinnier. 8 years later, I think that's the time frame.
You're
But it's
talking about Affleck's character.
yes, Ben
Mhm.
Affleck's. He I feel like he was forcing himself to act a certain way compared to the first movie where he was just more fluent. He looked more naturally like his character. I feel like he was
Mm.
pushing to act like his character in this one, and the back and forths didn't really add up to how he portrayed himself in the first movie compared to the second one. And I didn't like his character set. That was the biggest thing that was really off with me. It's like watching a movie and when someone's talking, but their lips aren't matching their words or
Mm.
their mouth, it bugs the hell out of me. So when I'm looking at him and I'm hearing him, I'm like, man, he's really forcing. He's trying to sell that he is, who he says he is, right? He's special. He obviously has a hard time with certain things, right? He has a system. But when he was doing all the things he was doing, I think he sold it too much. He was doing too much to sell that
Mm.
aspect. I don't know. It was just crazy. And then the supercell of soldiers that are working in the basement, freaking hacking this and that, and I'm
No,
like,
okay, all right. So I'm gonna get into that. All right, so let me just get into my weekend because I've been hearing I don't really talk about my weekend too much. So let me go ahead and talk about mine. Yeah, I actually got a chance to go bowling this weekend, and I actually spent some time, with family and friends, whatever the case might be. And then
uh-huh.
I saw The Accountant 2, and I
I,
saw Sinners.
I didn't see Sinners yet.
I
I want
thought both
to see it too.
movies amazing, amazing, and I'll tell you why. I like The Counting Two a lot, bro. I like
Okay.
The Counting Two because in this one, I felt like the brother. I had a feeling. I was like, if they do another one, the brother has to be involved, right? Like you have to show the dynamic between the two
Right.
because the brother's always there to make sure little bro is okay. Well, actually, little
Uh,
bro is
yeah, it's
is the
little
little
bro
brother,
doing the
which is
opposite.
crazy, you know? Yeah.
Yeah,
And so I liked it because here you got two tough guys, and one brother is still like, "Hey man, like you don't even love me, like like what's up? Do you want me around?" Like you could tell even from the first movie, that's how he was too. He was like, "You never called to say you miss me. You never, like I like that aspect of it because it's like they could kill
right.
30 people in one moment, and then the next he's
Yep.
like, "Bro, like I love you, man. Like what's up? Tell me you love me, bro." And I like that aspect of it. I just like the fact that they made it a little bit more comedic this time. You can see the banter between the two bros. And it was just cool to see that they both kind of made it out. They were both doing the right thing by people. Even the scene when they're in the room with the girls, the trafficking whole situation,
Right. Right.
and they were trying to get down to the bottom of stuff. Just seeing like men who can do the honorable thing, like they're sitting there just talking to these women, trying to get
Mhm.
information from them to try to solve this case, and they're like, "Look, all we want to do is get information. That's it." And then like they make sure that they get out safely, whatever the case might be. And I like the whole dynamic of the movie. But like you said, with Christian Wolf, the guy that Ben Affleck played, I like this character because so in the first one, I thought it was very convincing. Like his autism,
Super, super convincing.
very convincing. Like, like he just didn't want to be bothered with anybody. He was just like, just let me get to the numbers. That's all I care about. The numbers, the numbers. And I like that aspect of it. But you could tell he's heard so much about himself and how he interacts with people that he's trying to work on it. Right. Like that's what I liked about this movie. Like you can see he's trying to become a better person when it comes to communication and stuff. Like he's hearing what his brother was saying. He's like, okay, so thank you for coming. Thank you for like, you know what I'm saying? Like he's trying to,
And
show
he
it.
sounds normal by saying it. He doesn't really sound different. He doesn't sound like how he would sound in the first movie, and compared to the second movie, his
Yeah,
voice
but
and
that's the
tone.
point. Like, don't you want to see growth though? Like to me, I
Okay,
was like, okay, do I want him to be the exact same character, or do I want him to have grown a little bit? You think like that was almost 10 years ago, right? Like, so it's like,
but yeah,
do you want him to to grow as a character, or do you want him to be the exact same that he was? And so
I want him
I
to
do like
grow,
that.
but I want his mannerisms and his tone of voice and the way that he portrays himself to be consistent with the first movie. There has to
Yeah.
be that consistency. If it's someone who's playing this role for the first time, I get it. But this is your second time playing this role. Try to be consistent. And
Mhm.
I think another aspect of it was I'm in a 4DX movie, and it's when the seats would move up and down. They have the mist, they have the air, all that, right? I didn't get my 4DX experience until the very end when there
Yeah.
was some freaking drive-in or whatever. I hated that. I was pissed. I got more 4DX experience in the previews than I did
Yeah.
in the whole movie. And I was livid. I think that's what pissed me off too. But I would
That's
say the first movie
understandable.
the
That's
first movie is better
understandable.
than the second movie, hands down.
Yeah. So yeah, I have the total opposite reaction to that, man. I feel like that second one was just I left the theater happy. I was like, you know what? That was money well spent. I really feel like this movie it just allowed them to be on the happier side of things. Like
Right.
you just always saw them, even when they were growing up. It was always training. It was always getting ready for fighting bullies and stuff like that. And then even as they became men,
Yeah.
it was always about accomplishing the mission. And so to be able to say, you know what, let's go away somewhere, man. Let's go hiking. Let's do this. Let's do that. I thought that was pretty cool to just be able to. Because at first I thought the brother
Mhm.
wasn't going to make it. Like spoiler alert. Like people who haven't seen it, please just skip ahead. We probably should have said this about 5 minutes ago, but
Too bad.
yeah, like I just thought that it was a good way for them to kind of show, like, okay, it's time for us to grow. It's time for us to do more stuff. I like that, man. That's pretty cool. Now, what you said about the
Yeah.
kids, I like that
Yeah.
whole army aspect. Yes, it was a little bit much, but I also like the fact that it's like how you would normally get kids of that type of mental prowess involved, like that type
Right.
of mental
Let me go
acuity.
hack the government. Sure. Like that's your way of going about it. Psycho. Psycho behavior. Man, are they even getting paid? Like, I want an allowance.
And
Raise that
all I
up.
need is some Pop Tarts, man. You get a kid some Pop Tarts,
I
some Nutter
love good Pop
Butters,
Tart.
some
I love it.
Oreos.
I love a Nutter Butter too, man. You're saying all the right things. I'll work for free for that.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, come on. They got a whole drawer
Absolutely.
full of snacks, probably. And for them, it's
Man.
just the thrill of the hunt. It's like, yo, who can get it done first? That's what I liked about it too. Like you could tell they
Yeah,
were
it was like a little
competing.
competition.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that aspect, man. That was pretty cool.
So yeah, I mean that was nice. I went to the bar last night because I was feeling, a little stuffy in the house. So got an Uber, went to the bar, played some pool, and then I had these guys walk up towards me and they were complimenting me on my sweater. And I'm thinking to myself, it's just a Nike pullover. It's not even a hoodie, right? I don't know who these guys are. They're asking me where I got my sweater. They're asking me if I like Drake. And I'm getting so confused because I'm buzzed, they're buzzed. And I'm like, man, who are you clowns? I'm trying to finish my game of pool. Like, it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning. I want to get the hell out of here. Right. And they ended up getting close, and security had to push them back a little bit because they were just getting a little too close for comfort. Long story short, they were like, your sweater is Drake. And I was like, no, it's Nike. They're like, no, Drake and Nike did a collaboration together. And for those who aren't seeing, I'm showing a part of the sweater, which is Nocta. Nocta is a collaboration between Nike and Drake. So that was pretty cool. So they were like, yeah, that sweater right there is worth around $350 right now on eBay. And I'm like, bro, this is like $100 sweater. They're like, yeah, well, you can't get it anymore, and people are reselling it. I was like, man, I got the sweatpants and the sweater. Like, I think I might come up on like $700 with there, man.
You wearing the ops clothes anyway. You got to get rid of it now.
Yeah, yeah, true. I didn't even know that was Drake. I
Right,
didn't know.
right,
But
right.
now I'm like, man, if I have them coming up to me and them saluting me, he goes, "I salute you." I wanted to pour my beer on him, man. Man, dude, get away from me. I don't want your number. Go sing some karaoke.
It sound like he was getting a little too close for comfort.
Two
Too guy.
long hair, just in my face. I'm like, man. They were like, "Oh yeah, we from Philly." I don't know why you guys are getting all jumpy. I'm like, well, you in Cali, bro. Like, you don't just do that. People out here, they don't do what they do over on the East Coast. East Coast, you get in someone's face, you joke around, you say "fuck you." You push a little bit, they ain't gonna do nothing. You buy a
Right.
beer, chill, whatever. Out here, people get excited.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone has a knife. Everyone has a
Mhm.
little freaking a little pincher. They'll get you. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's why. That's one thing I don't want up in my face. Like, don't get in my face, man.
Facts,
Like
man.
you get too close. And I mean, listen, when people are drinking, like it's different if they nice. You could tell if they nice already. They get a little close up in your face, whatever. But once it gets a little bit, like once I could tell you're fully coherent, you know what's going on. You in my face, it's like, all right, what's up, bro? Like, what's really good? What are we doing
I
here?
mean,
And it's interesting that security jumped in, to try to
oh
stop it.
yeah,
Like they saw something. So,
separate. They're like, no, no, you gotta separate. And it's kind of funny because as that's happening, I'm looking on the TV screen and they're showing replays of the NFL draft. And I was hearing them out, but also looking at the draft because I found it hilarious how this whole draft been. I mean, the whole thing from start to finish was just absolutely insane. Were you up to date on all the picks?
yeah, I watched some of the draft, man. I watched the first round, and then when I saw Shadeur, because everybody's been talking about Shadeur Sanders, right, and
Mm.
where he was possibly going to be placed in the draft, and everybody was just certain that he was going to go in the first round.
Oh,
Like it
absolutely.
was, it was no debate about it. I mean, you think about it, he's literally the second quarterback in ranking in terms of who was going to get drafted, right?
Yep.
See him fall from not just the first, not the second, not the third, not the fourth, but the fifth round,
Yep.
bro. And that just said to me, it was like, a lot of people have been speaking on it, like, man, like, Gilly said something about it, Stephen A said something about it, and it's like, okay, we see what's going on here. Like, at a certain point, it's no longer just a team not finding the right fit for you. That's collusion, bro. Like, at a certain point, all the teams had to have collectively said, nobody pick him in these rounds. Like, let's all, and this is all alleged, of course, but like, there's no way you could have that many 32 teams across 4 rounds and nobody chose the number 2 quarterback in the game. Like that's crazy. I didn't like that at all. I think it was just proof that you could tell that they had some animosity either towards Shadeur or to Deion Sanders. And like Deion Sanders and Shadeur remind me of LaMelo Ball and Var Ball. Like, what I'm saying? Like just very, very much like, hey, I'm going to make my own rules. I'm going to do it my own way. If you don't like it, too bad. Then we're not going to just take the first deal we get. And I could
Right.
just tell that they didn't like that.
I look at the Shadeur and whole thing that's happened with him, and I look at also the Mannings and how Archie Manning did for
Same
Peyton,
thing.
Archie Manning did for Eli. I mean, Eli Manning didn't want to play for the Chargers, and his daddy made sure of it. So he went to the Giants. The rest is history, right? You get that family doing it, no one batted an eye. That's okay. They'll talk their crap, but at the end of the day, it's going to get done. Now, the difference is Deion Sanders is very outspoken. He doesn't hold back. He always hits where he needs to hit. Plain and simple. He's always been that way. His swagger is not for everybody. And same with his son. I mean, his son straight up told everybody on live television and at a press conference, if you're not looking to change your culture, if you're not looking to change your team around, then don't choose me. I'm not for you. And I think doing that makes people afraid, makes owners afraid. And it does create the shift of, oh man, this person is going to come in here and do what another quarterback has done over in the 40, and we all know him as Colin Kaepernick, right? He was there for a lot of change. He wanted to change the way the NFL was, by taking a knee during the Pledge of Allegiance. And all that sparked a lot of controversy. And I think that they have probably PTSD from that and didn't want to move forward. So I can see it from both scales and also look at it from the coach's point of view too. When Deion Sanders says that whatever team my son goes to, I'm gonna coach him. I'm gonna coach my son, right? And for him saying that, a head coach hearing that, I'm gonna be afraid now because if I get your son, I have to be wary for my job. I now have to be on top of it. And how many quarterbacks have you seen pushed coaches out because they didn't want to work with them when they were so great? For example, you have the Jets, right? You have Aaron Rodgers who didn't work well with the coach. So the next thing you know, he's gone. He
Yeah.
couldn't play well. And that has been a theme for different teams within the NFL. So I don't know. There's a lot that goes into it. I think that he should have gotten drafted early on. I think that he should have gotten drafted high. I think that he should have gotten drafted in the first round. He has broken over 100 records. He has done things that no other quarterback has done. In this previous college that he went to, he brought them to the playoffs, right? And
Yeah,
they've never been before. And then he goes over to Colorado and makes them a contender and puts them into a really good spot, beating good teams, making waves, and then NCAA has an amazing set of receivers, has an amazing defensive line, and the whole thing, the whole shebang. It's not just one person that makes a team, but it's a quarterback that creates a good standing team that can push forward and
yeah,
go
he's the
to
captain.
different heights, man. And
He's the
what's so
captain,
funny?
man.
Who was it? KFC. They had a tweet, and it says something about how KFC wasn't chosen 1,006 times, but the 1,007th recipe they were chosen, and they started their line. And sometimes you just need a little time to cook the Sanders way or something like that, right? And I was like,
Oh, that's right.
yo,
Yeah, his name is Colonel Sanders. That's right. That's
and I was
right.
like, yo, that's
Uh,
okay. KFC,
yeah, like you said, it's just one of those things for me. I don't like it because for a league that's been trying to fight the idea of racism for a long time, and for trying
yeah,
to say, hey, we treat everybody the same, and hey, 70% of our players are black. That's cool, but the reason why is because they bring the money, right? Like you're going after athletes who get the job done, who make a name for themselves, who get those hits on the right quarterbacks, who catch those fly balls with swag, with style. And that's what people pay to watch. And you
right,
have a lot of people who don't like the showmanship of it all, but don't watch, right? Like this is a new league where you got people who are literally playing in front of millions of people. They have to have a certain level of confidence to do that. You have to have a
absolutely.
certain level of bravado to do that. You catch those game-winning balls and make those plays, those Hail Mary plays. You have to be wired a certain way to be able to do that. And that's why I don't like when people are just like, oh, they're grandstanding. I don't like the way Shadeur was tweeting. He was, they made mention of the fact that he used terms like legendary in some of his tweets, I guess kind of showing his play style, or they basically say he should have been quote unquote more buttoned up or all about the team. And it's like, look, this is a young kid. This kid is 22, 23 years old. He's still learning the game, but he's got the talent. It's undeniable. And I
Yeah,
feel like when you try to do this to a kid, he remembers this. And Dion remembers this too. And I know with Prime, he's on some stuff like, okay, I see what's going on here. Now we're gonna kick all y'all asses. And we're gonna make sure you pay. Like they're gonna hear about it. Like just like with Lamar
yeah.
Jackson. It was the same with him. They tried to play him out as well. Originally he's supposed to be a wide receiver.
And look at him now,
Look at him
right?
now, like one of the top quarterbacks in the game, man.
And that brings me to something else too, right? So that's like there's a rise right now for main character syndrome, right? And you're filming yourself on a daily basis, you're going out there acting like a movie star, putting your name out there, saying you shine so bright. And I think sometimes when you do that, you put yourself too far out there for people to want to catch up. If they see you too far gone, they don't want to have to do the work to catch up to you, right? Be it ownerships, be it people who want to sign you, sponsorships, etc, because you are putting yourself way too far. You need to humble yourself, bring yourself down a little bit so others can catch up, and then you guys can go together, right? Walk through that door the same way, come out the same way. I get it. You're talented. You're amazing at playing football, dude. You can throw that ball. You can run. You can do all the things, but slow it down a little bit, right? Don't become this next, level narcissistic player that comes out there and says it's all about me. It's all about the team, right? And you said the word legendary. Cool. Think about that to yourself, right? Do the work, then call yourself legendary. You're not there yet. You're legendary in NCAA. This is NFL now.
That's true, but that's when you get somebody with a good coach, with a good leadership style that comes in and says, all that you thought you did in college, it's a different game now. And that's how they typically brought these players along. Like a Deion Sanders has been around for 30 years. You know what I'm saying? He was playing in the league 35 years ago. He had that mentality back then. A lot of these players did. This isn't
Right.
new.
But now you have to deal
So,
with Deion Sanders. You're not just dealing with Shadeur Sanders when you're talking about it. I mean, it's a big difference if you're just talking to the athlete, but you're talking to the athlete as well
and
as
his
the
dad.
person who's representing you, which is your father, Deion Sanders, who has complete say in what his sons do and what his sons say, what they don't say, etc. He does. And then there was this TV show that went out, following their life and what it's about. And I hear the way he talks and how he tells them what they need to be doing, what they need to be worked on, and that's great. They listen very well. That's why they're really good.
Hmm.
But then it's also going into their professional life, where if they're going to a team, they have to have the say of their father. And I don't know, just their dad needs to take a step back, let them do their thing, make decisions. Yes, life is all about messing up. Nothing's ever for certain, right? So go out there, mess up, do great, or don't mess up and do amazing, right? But make it your decision with the guidance of your father, not his say so.
Yeah, I think my thing is everybody has room to learn, right? Especially when you're this age. Everybody's moldable. Like, they've taken some of the most egocentric characters and who had that main character syndrome, as you mentioned, and they've said, "Listen, it's about the team. It's not about you." Now you got some guys like a Aaron Rodgers who never really got the lesson, right? They still, and it
People
was
think
crazy.
he's a fucking asshole in
I
person.
never thought Aaron Rodgers was like this until he got a microphone. Until he started speaking in front of people, or until he had the whole COVID situation happen where he said he was vaccinated but he wasn't. That whole time up until then,
Crazy.
I thought he was a decent dude. Like, I just was like, okay, he's a good quarterback, whatever the case might be. And he started talking, and I was like, bro, what's wrong with this guy? Like, it's legit something wrong with him.
He's a psycho. I mean, there was his girlfriend who was just like, "Hey, he makes me depressed.
Hmm.
He legit makes me very depressed, and I had to get away from him because he is just a psychopath." Like, you think about that, man. If you're with someone and you're like, "Man, I am feeling gloomy, even though I am always happy. I used to be energetic, and now I just feel like all the energy's out of me. I used to want to, have sex 20 times a day, and now I don't even want to play with myself." Like, that's fucking crazy. I mean, dude, imagine not playing with yourself for one fucking day. I would lose my mind.
Yeah.
Hypothetically speaking, everybody.
But what you mentioned is a point, because with him and with his girlfriend at the time, like, she was a movie star, right?
Yep.
I think it was Shailene Woodley or something like that. What was her
You're
name?
so good with names. I wouldn't know, Kane.
I'll be forgetting. Yeah,
For the record, everybody, Kane remembers everyone's name, right? Everyone's name, but he doesn't remember my phone number.
this is facts. Yo, he quizzed me the other day, and I felt so bad as a friend. I was like, I have no clue what it even starts with. I
And
think
then
it's
I
like 760 or something like that.
and then I said his number, and he was like, "You
I
got
was
one
like,
off, but that was pretty close."
it was like crickets. I was like, okay, yeah, you got me. You
I mean,
got me, buddy.
think about that, man. Like, if my dad was like that, he would always remember people's numbers. He would never put it in his phone, even though he could save it. So it was the craziest thing.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that's crazy. That was a different time, though. You think about it. We had no way of remembering stuff unless we were like, yeah, it was all off of memory back in the day. Like, I had to know my friends' phone numbers, or I would write them down on a piece of paper somewhere or something like that. But now it's like you just press a face and it dials out. Like, back, you're not
right.
wired to use your brain the same way anymore. Now it's just we rely on these phones. Imagine if we lost that. Like, if all the phones just kind of disappeared, computers just died. Like, what will we recall? What will we remember? I would
I
be
would.
asked out.
I think a lot of people would be losing their shit. I would be okay. I don't need my phone. I don't need to be online. I feel like I'll be good. I like to be outdoors. I like to talk to people. I'm a huge talker. I can walk into an empty room and still have an amazing conversation with the walls. Like, that's my thing, right?
Mm.
But I know people who would lose their mind if everything was just turned off. There was a show a while back that had something like that. It was all the electricity and everything in the world was all shut down
Hmm.
magically. I forgot what this movie was called, but it was pretty nuts. It's pretty nuts.
Yeah, that's crazy. And it's funny you mention that, because I know right now there's a thought of AI actually running for office, right, for political office. Yeah, like something in Wyoming, I believe, is happening where I think an AI chatbot was submitted as a candidate. Yes, this is a real thing.
What?
And it makes you wonder, like, even though it is scary when you think about it, maybe
Yep.
I think we're getting to the point now with everyday people in society where we're seeing a lot of dumb people. Like, there's a lot of either old people who don't know shit about technology, who don't know anything about Instagram or Facebook or Snapchat or any of these tools, and they're trying to write laws to regulate them. And
Right.
so a lot of it is they're like 70, 80 years old, and they don't even barely know how to use their cell phone. And then they're trying to write laws for for how we use AI, and
I
we're
am
never going to be at a
baffled.
point to do that.
I am baffled right now that that actually happened. If they allow AI to take office, like just think about that. And that doesn't go too far away from what Musk is doing with the implants and the brain. I mean, that's pretty similar, right? Imagine having an AI update to the brain and now you're a surrogate for AI. And you're trapped. It's like an episode of
Black Mirror or something.
no, well, Black Mirror, but mixed with Get Out,
And
where you're trapped in there.
did you ever see the movie called Upgrade, where they took a chip and implanted it inside a guy, and his body became a weapon? Like basically, like the chip controlled his whole body and stuff. Like it was pretty
What
interesting.
wasn't the actor the same one who played Pirates of the Caribbean?
It might be him. Did you ever see Prometheus, the alien movie?
Yes.
I think that was the same guy. Yeah, it was called Upgrade. It was a story. I think this guy got into a bad car accident or something.
Oh, that one, no, I have so okay. I have not seen Upgrade, but there's a movie where this dude, what's his name? Johnny Depp. Where Johnny Depp,
Singularity. Singularity. That's what it was
yeah,
called.
you know everything, Jesus.
I've just seen a lot of movies. That's all.
It pisses me off how much you know. You would be amazing
Like a
in.
Jeopardy or some shit.
Oh my God, we're going to the bar. We're gonna go. We're gonna win a lot of money.
I'm a bank of a lot of useless information, guys.
I didn't say useless. I didn't say useless. But um, it's just crazy when you see all of this, right? And it's like Lucy as well. Lucy was another one too.
Yeah, yeah,
Like there's all these different movies where AI is just it's godlike
yeah,
unless you completely just EMP this whole entire world. That has to be the kill switch, right? Like a global EMP where it just shuts everything down and does a hard reboot from scratch.
yeah.
That needs to be it because if we just do a complete turn off, then we're going to be living in the Stone Age.
But to be honest with you, and I think we spoke about this briefly before, but I believe that AI, if we allow it to, it will already plan for these types of scenarios, right?
Absolutely. It's
it
so smart.
will it will now make itself impenetrable from things like EMPs going off because it knows that that's a main threat, right? I'm sure it's assessed all the threats that it faces right now, so it
Dang.
already has
Yeah.
some ways to define, and that's why even like people like Elon Musk initially and Sam Altman, all those people who are leading AI projects, they said don't let it get too advanced because if it does, we will go extinct. It will take over and it
I mean,
will
it would see
take us
us
all
as
out.
the biggest threat to the world, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah, it's
we
true.
need a reset. Oh, instead of AI having a hard reset, you humans are going to have a hard reset once we
But at the
just
same
destroy
time,
you all. Yeah,
yeah, but at the same time,
we'll leave
I,
a few of you in a I don't know, in a tube. In about, let's say, 2,000 years, we'll, I don't know, make you become live again and give you some type of power. But in the end, we'll be the ones in charge.
yeah, yeah,
That's what it is.
right. Like, could you imagine that? Like you think about the Matrix, right? Where it was just now we were just batteries. Like,
I used to
here
have
it is,
nightmares of the Matrix, man.
yo. Like, you think about it, we created the machines. The machines took over, and then literally used us just for fuel,
They
like
farmed us,
just
bro.
batteries.
That's
Literally, we
crazy.
were farms, and yeah, it does make you think a lot of the stuff. I think 20 years ago we saw this; it was far fetched. But the more AI becomes the lay of the land, and the more and more people are using it. Right now, it's just taking all this information in, and it's saying, "Okay, I can help you, but how are you now helping me? We're helping it." Because it's learning from all of our questions, everything that we do, everything we put in. And so now it's getting to a point where it can do that. I do like the idea of AI possibly influencing a policy because they could find a way to make the best policies, excuse me, for like society. I think that that's a pretty interesting thought because I don't think humans, especially the humans we have in Congress now, I don't think that a lot of them are capable of coming up with really good, solid laws
Hmm.
for the future. I think AI would be a really good tool to say, okay, here's some laws we could put in place to protect against maybe certain forms of disease or maybe certain issues around food policy or social planning, where to build certain buildings and facilities, right? It can look at all that stuff and say this is probably the best place to do it. And I think that humans have become corruptible. There's too many humans in there who only care about money. There's very few Congress people and senators who are less than millionaires. Pretty much everyone is a multimillionaire at this point, and you're not getting there off of your salary. So where are you getting it?
I mean, dude, it's just really crazy. And you just hit it on the head, right? 20 years from now, right? really see all this. And there's a movie in 1970 that was called 1999, and it's about a space movie. You know, it's the craziest thing, right? So, Space 1999 was the last in a long line of science fiction movie series, you know, beginning with the supercar in the early 1960s and all these different things, right? And they're trying to project or what the future would look like. And where we're at now, we're far past what we envisioned ourselves to be way back in the day, right? And how fast we're going, and at what lengths we're going, it scares me a little bit because I feel like we're going too fast, too soon. We're like in a rush to prove something, to get it out. And I think we're in a race with not just ourselves, but with other nations on who's going to get what out first, because they want to be the one who's going to profit from it. They want to, you know, get money, because that's obviously the leading factor to making inventions, right? Is what can I get from it, right? And not just
Yeah.
how is this going to help humanity, but how is this going to line my pockets and help the rest of the generation going forward? I don't know.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? Like, you know, when you think about movies in the future, right? Like I remember stuff like Back to the Future, right? Like, you know, we talked about the hoverboard before, or the
Hmm.
flying car, or the self-tying sneakers that you just put your foot in and then they seal up tight. Remember that? Like, you know, there were a lot
Yeah,
of
that's
things
right.
that you remember? You know,
Yeah,
there were a lot of things that we thought would be here that are not here yet, or they're just figuring out ways to get them invented and implemented, right? And it's just interesting when you look at it. Like, there's certain things that I've watched before. So, for instance, in that movie, and that movie was a very good futuristic movie. That movie, I feel, and Minority Report were the two movies where I feel like they were very good at predicting certain things that are to come. And a lot of these movies I found out actually hire futurists, right? So they hire people who are
yeah.
specifically good and like looking at the past, looking at the future, trying to figure out where we will be in the next 20 and 30 years. And a lot of that stuff does come true. So I don't know if you remember Minority Report
I
where they
do.
had those like those bots, those little machines that would go searching through the rooms and things if they were looking for a
Oh
fugitive,
my god, yeah,
like
and
the
if
little
you're in the water, it
spiders.
zapped them and everything. Yeah,
Yeah. I was like, imagine if that was real. Like, well, imagine if you get in your car like an iRobot and it knows when you're in your car, you know, it scans your ID, it knows where you live, and it can literally just shut your car down. Like, if you're trying to run from somebody, it's just like, nope, you can't move anymore. You know, you're just stuck. It's
no,
cool features to it, but it's just now you lose a lot of privacy.
I think they were called hackers, right?
Mhm.
For stopping the cars, you're in a pool, and it's probably a pressurized pool, and it's all powered by AI. For example, I saw a movie called The Amateur.
Oh, you saw that? How was it?
My God, way better than The Accountant too. It
Wow.
was really good, and it's a remake too. It's a remake of a movie from, I believe, the '80s.
Really?
And yeah, yeah, The Accountant, not Accountant, sorry,
The
the
amateur?
Amateur. And I watched it and enjoyed it, and I thought to myself, we've had SEALs, we have Green Beret, we have MI6. I mean, talking about all these different things in the world, right? We have all these different agencies with spies, etc. This dude is a nerd. He sits behind a computer, gathers data, can put together code, etc. Like, he's really good with putting things together. But he's never on the field. Goes out in the field to avenge his wife. And for those who haven't watched the movie, it's a remake of a movie that was in the '80s, so shut up. So
Spoiler alert.
yeah, spoiler alert. It's just crazy because he is really smart and he uses his mind to kill people. And for someone who has no field experience, doesn't know how to really shoot a gun, doesn't actually at all, never killed someone before, to just do that so simple, right? It makes you think. All you need is your brain and your fingers, and if you don't have fingers, probably your toes. Write
Yeah.
some code, and there you have it. You have yourself a new hitman.
You made a valid point because I used to always wonder what it took to become like an agent or you know someone that was in clandestine service, and a lot of times all you need is an intelligent person. You could train someone to become a killer. You could train someone to become an assassin or train them in self defense, martial arts, but you can't train them to be smart. And so
Hmm.
they know that okay, we can take. Then that's why a lot of the times they source people at MIT, at Oxford, at Harvard. They'll go to these top schools because that's where the smartest people go, or typically tend to come out of. Right? They look
Hmm.
for these people who they know they can mold and train. You know, we can't teach you to be smart. You know the code. You can speak five languages. You're really good in finance. You're really good in And that's a lot of times what they look for. They look for people that are really good in like mathematics and finance, right? And then they'll take them
Right.
out and say, okay, guys, perfect. This is who we want. Or hacking, really good in like computer programming, like you said before. And now we'll just train you. We'll just give you all the tools you need to go out into the field and do what you need to do. But that's an interesting premise. Like I think that's a really good movie. I do want to go check that out. My kids actually went to go see it. They said it was good, so I'm going to go check it out too.
Man.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
I would recommend it. And just made me think I need to really jump on learning all the things I need to know about computers and AI and all that. I know we've talked about it plenty of times in our other episodes. But man, it's insane how much growth there is just by knowing a little bit about a little bit when it comes to AI, as opposed
Uh-huh.
to a lot when it comes to real world shit, right?
Yeah.
I can swim, I can hold my breath for 10 minutes, I can run a mile in 4 minutes, I can wrestle really well, state champion, but I'll still lose a fight against someone who's smart as hell and can, freaking
Mhm.
turn up my AC or lock all the doors if it's all AI powered and trap me in my house for starvation, whatever. There's so many things, right? Like, I don't know,
Yeah.
it's super wild. And when you talk about assassinations, right, I was looking at this article of one of the popes from the past and how he was in an assassination attempt, got shot twice. The guy got imprisoned. He was part of this militia group, and they're all radicals. Got imprisonment when the pope made a recovery. He went into prison and forgave the person. And it was remarkable because it's shown everyone what forgiveness was like, right? And the power of forgiveness. So the guy ended up, saying thank you and converted his faith, then became really good friends with the Pope. And when the Pope passed away, he went to visit the Pope at the burial site. It was this whole thing from hitman to, born again,
Mhm.
and it was pretty remarkable. And I love seeing that. And, obviously with the passing of this Pope, just thinking about it, there are a few cardinals that are in play to possibly become the next Pope, one of them being Asian and two of them being Africans.
Wow.
You know,
It brings up a good point. Like, are we ready for? Is the world ready for a non-European pope? I remember there was an African pope in the running before. This is maybe the last time around before this pope got chosen, and it just makes you wonder. Do will people react the same? Do they hold them at the same standard? And you would hope so, right?
right.
These popes or these cardinals got to where they are, and the fact that they're even mentioned in the running means that they have done what they need to do. People respect them as leaders in their particular groups and in society. So it just makes you wonder, what is the world ready for? I think the world is ready, but of course we're also a world that elected a Trump or some of these far right leaders in Europe today or in Italy. I think it's a toss up. It's a
I
real
mean,
toss up to see
yeah. You
how
think
we
about it
react.
when it comes to president, you got Obama. So that
Yeah.
was a huge plus. And then we got Kamala as being the vice president, right? So
Mhm.
the world is changing. And it's super slow with how it's changing, right?
Yeah.
You can't really control that as an individual, but as a group, obviously, you see things transitioning over. And I was watching this movie that's on Amazon Prime, and it's called The Conclave. Super, super good movie. It has had a 358% viewership since the Pope has passed, and the movie actually came out last year before the Pope passed on. Pretty remarkable. Looking at that and seeing the inner workings and the politics and all that goes into it when it comes to this movie, right? And obviously it's not real, but it shows you what it could be like. It blew me away, and I really enjoyed this movie a lot. Just makes you wonder, like, and the ending, well, it was amazing. I would say 1,000%. You
Really.
never saw it coming. You would never see it coming.
Okay.
But to your point, no one's ever ready. And if they are, they're going to be in shock, right? Like
Mhm.
they're still going to be in shock, even if they say they're ready. No one's ever truly ready. So
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that what needs to happen is they just need to go for it if it's there, right? If that's a consensus, like, hey, you know what? You're the best for the job. It's a stressful job. It's 24/7. Are you okay with it? And in this video, sorry, in this movie, it said no one really wants the papacy.
Huh.
It's very taxing, and everyone's always going to have their eyes on you. when you look at it that way and you see what you're giving up, which is being out of the limelight, going back to wherever you're stationed and doing what you got to do, having that freedom, having that flexibility, you lose all that to become this figure that has to stand on top of everybody else, right?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah, you lose your individuality in a lot of ways. And it is a more political role, as you mentioned before. It's not a completely religious role. It is a role where you are literally speaking for millions of people. It's a very interesting dynamic when you think about what the papacy is. Like, I'm actually going to do some more research into it, like to really understand how it's supposed to function in society, because I've always looked at the Pope as just a religious figure years ago, but really no, he's almost like a head of state. He's really a head of state in some ways. And even when you think about the Vatican and how vast that is, and how much money is controlled in the Vatican, and how it's really built to be a fortress in and of itself. Like, it's really isolated. It's, even though it's in town, it's like it's very secure, right? And I just
Mhm.
always thought that was pretty interesting, and I'm going to check that movie out, The Conclave, to see what it's all. But it just brings up just politics overall, because we see what's happening on that side of things, and how politics can start to change people's minds about religion. How they at one point are super devout, and then they become just people that say, "Oh, religion is just it's a pie in the sky idea. It's no longer something that I live by anymore. It's just a nice way to kind of live, right? It's not something that people really hold for much value." But you see what's happening, like in this country, even the Supreme Court, what they're doing with homelessness, right? How they're trying to figure out how they can classify homelessness in this country. And how, I know we were talking earlier about the fact that homelessness on the east and west coast is handled differently,
Oh
right?
yeah, East
Yeah.
Coast. You have the right to shelter. You have armories. You have places that are dedicated for the homeless. I mean, you have to stay in line, online for a little bit and get there early, or else you'll lose your spot and you can't, get into this shelter. Then you have to go to the next shelter. It's very cramped. But yeah, you have the right to shelter on the East Coast. and the West Coast, you don't. That's why you see a lot of people who are homeless on the streets. You see them, underneath bridges and parks and open areas that have, buildings. It's just straight grass and maybe a tree, and they had it over there. I mean, I've seen it all, and it's insane to see all that. When I'm over in San Francisco and I see homelessness, it's more of like a village. When you look at it, everyone's
Yeah.
trading, they're hanging out, they're trading resources. Um, they have cell phones. They're talking to one another. They're gambling. Like, they're on the streets doing all these things, and they have tents as their homes, and people are going in and out. And as I
Hmm.
was walking the streets, I saw this, and I'm thinking to myself, if, and this is a hard thing that I'm going to say right here, right? But if the homeless were able to get a job and go back into society, doing what we all do, right? Working 9 to 5, have a home, pay bills, etc., would they take that over where they're at now, or would they just stay because of comfortability? You have to think about that too.
That's an interesting thought. And I was out in San Francisco for a conference a few years ago, and it's so interesting when you go in town. I was there for a particular technical convention, a big one of the big conventions every year.
Hmm.
And you're in one part of town that's beautiful, like all the restaurants are there, but then you get to more Skid Row part of like San Francisco, and then you see all the different, the homeless embankments and the way they have it set up there. And one of the things I realized about San Francisco is that it's about the cost of living. It's not them wanting to necessarily be on the street. It's the fact that, like, a lot of people that are homeless out there are actually working people. Like, they literally are going to work every day. It's just that the cost of housing is so expensive, you can't afford to live anywhere. You can't afford to get by on your salary. And I think at
Hmm.
one point they even started to explore the idea of $1,000 stipend for every resident in San Francisco, just to help them be able to afford a home, like be able to have money towards some shelter. Like,
I
that
think
is
they have a
crazy to
monthly
me.
stipend, actually.
So
I
you
think they get a monthly stipend.
Yeah, it's like a
Yeah.
thousand dollars, something like that, around that figure. And I
Hmm.
think that it's sad when you need to rely on a stipend. Like, you can no longer depend on a job to be able to take care of your living and your food. Like, we're not talking about anything extravagant. We're not talking about going out to a Broadway show or to, get some nice clothes from a really nice store. It's just literally going home. going home and having
Right.
a place to lay your head and some food in your refrigerator. And that's just horrible. Like we've allowed this society and this economy to stretch so far that there's this huge gap between we talked about before the top 1-2% and the rest of the bottom 98%. Like literally that entire group of people is living paycheck to paycheck and barely in a home. A lot of them are not
Right.
living in a
The
home.
pandemic didn't help either. Homelessness is at an all-time high because of that as well. It is insane. I mean, you lose your job, businesses shut down. Now, what you were doing, you can't do anymore. And
Mhm.
if you haven't saved, if you probably lost your home because you couldn't afford it anymore, things happen. Life happens, right? Everyone has a story. I just don't think that they should be punished for sleeping on the streets. I think that if there is a place where you can lay your head, right? As long as you're not impeding traffic, right? Like just enjoy laying down. Like
It's a
enjoy.
hard problem to manage because especially if you're trying to promote safety, right? Like if you're saying, okay, guys, come live here. We have some of the nicest buildings and some of the nicest apartments or nicest condos and townhomes. But then you have people laying on the street. People are not going to feel safe. People are not going to feel safe to walk through those areas. And so when you are a business owner, or even if you're a family and it's like, look, I just want to take my kids to get some ice cream. I don't want us to have to step over two or three homeless people laying on the street. I understand, why
Yeah,
that is such a thing. Why a leader of a state or a city would say, "Okay, guys, we've got to clean this up." Because
right.
just visually speaking, like who wants to step over someone as they're walking out on a date or they're going to get some
Yeah.
food with their family? It's a tough thing to manage. And you have a lot of people who are homeless who, even though you might provide them some shelter, they don't want to stay there. Like they will
True.
leave. They like independence. They might come there for a shower and that's it, but they want to be out on the street. They like it better there.
I hear that.
It's a hard problem to manage. It's like how do
Well,
you deal with
to your point, right? To answer that question, in La Jolla, right, in San Diego, they had some homeless issues. So what they did is that they put them in the bus, they shipped them over to Del Mar. Del Mar did the same thing. Put them in the bus, went over to Carlsbad. Carlsbad to Oceanside. You see a lot of people homeless in Oceanside, right? I don't live in Oceanside, but I live close by. A lot of homeless people out there. And then when you go to Carlsbad, there's less homeless people. The further you go into the nicer areas, such as Del Mar and La Jolla, you don't see anybody who's homeless. What they do to manage that problem, they said, okay, let's put you all on the bus. We'll give you something to go in there. It could be food, it could be money, whatever. And then we're going to take you out of here to the next city because we don't want you to be our problem. You're now their
uh,
problem. I I believe that is what their short term fix is for those nice areas that don't want to have to deal with the homeless people when they're going out for a cup of coffee or for an ice cream with their kids. So I pay more. I want to have everything. I don't want to have this. I want to have that. I want my amenities and I don't want to see homeless people. So the more you pay, the prettier your area is. The less you pay, obviously, we know how that goes.
I
Right.
can't lie. It's interesting you mentioned that because I used to have a lot of those more liberal like kind of beliefs and thought processes until I bought my first house, right? And when I bought my house and I moved to the burbs, and started talking about building or putting certain people in certain areas, I was like, hold on now. I don't necessarily want everybody in this neighborhood
Well,
because the
back
whole
up,
reason for
everybody.
right. The whole reason for moving here is for safety, right? The whole reason moving here is to and you pay to move there, right? It's not like it's just free, just open up and go.
It
You're
isn't.
spending your money.
It's not free.
Well, meaning like the tax system is so different. You know what I mean? You're paying a lot more for taxes. You're paying a lot more for land. You're paying more. You're paying to move into these areas. So it's like, why do that if just you're just going to move other people here? So apart, and I've always wrestled with this within myself too, because I am deep down one of those people that is just like, look, I want to make sure everybody has what they need, right? I want everybody to be happy and comfortable and have dignity and feel like they're not being pushed into certain areas where they don't belong or where they don't want to be. And at the same time, I also want to make sure my family has the safety that they
Yep.
feel like they're in certain neighborhoods where they could walk outside, they could play outside in the front or in the backyard and just have a good time out there and not have to worry about certain elements. So it's a catch-22. Like you want people to be happy, you want people to be feel dignified, but you also want to protect your own.
I hear that, and it's a tough sell for that, man. You know, it's really freaking tough. And you get those people who are sometimes uh, being homeless for the wrong reasons, right? They do have a house, they do have a car, and yet they're out there making mad money by standing in a prime spot and collecting. There was a thing, man, this had to been like 10 years ago over in 34th Street, Manhattan, at the, what's that stop right there? Penn Station. This dude would post up there and he would collect money every day. He would go there every day, just collect, collect, collect. Undercover news agent was out there doing a story on this
I
person,
think I remember that.
followed them over
Hmm.
to a car. Motherfucker took off the wig, took off his clothes, put on some other clothes, got into his what was a Mercedes, and drove right into New Jersey.
Hmm.
He had a house, a family, all that. Had his own business, but still wanted money. They did this for about a year. This dude brought in over six figures doing that. Six figures.
Wow. Wow.
And that just leads me to believe, like, hey, man, some people are just piece of shits.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
that's why I'm always looking to see whether or not I believe a person if they're asking for money or if they're not, right? And you could
Yep.
tell sometimes these people are just scandalous, man.
It's crazy. I've been there before too. Like I've actually been got before. It's times like I would see a couple and I used to be walking home from work and they would say, "I'm sorry, sir, I literally our car just like broke down. It's like 2 blocks away. We're trying to get home and it'll be, a guy and his wife or whatever the case might be. We just trying to get back home. And then like the story sounds good, but of course you're trained to not believe them anymore because you've seen these stories, you see what they do. And I was like, listen, here's $15. That's what I had on me at the time. I was like, I hope everything works out, and I hope you get where you have to go, right? And so I watched them, and I'm just walking through a corridor home. And then I turn back just to watch them again. I see them talking to somebody else, same situation. And I'm like, mind you, I gave them more than enough to do what they needed to do.
Double up.
You know what I'm saying?
Double up.
I gave you more than enough to do what you had to do. More than enough. But you
Yeah.
still feel, you have to go and get more. And so it's
It's
just you want
greed,
to be
man.
able to trust these people. Yeah. You want to be
It's
able to trust
greed.
them. And that's why I know a lot of friends, they'll be like, look, I'll get you something to eat. I'll literally buy
I don't
you
want
some
that.
food. Yeah.
I've done that. I went to McDonald's, got someone there like, I don't eat that. I'm like, what do you eat? No, I swear, man, it was wild. I went to McDonald's, drove to McDonald's, got some food because this person's on the side, and I always see them when I'm passing by. Got McDonald's, got them a Coke, whatever. And they're like, "What is this?" Like, I was like, "It's food. Like, I bought it for you." They're like, "I don't eat that. Do you have cash? I'll take cash instead." I said, "So I did the most
That's
ruthless thing I
awesome.
could think of. I got the food and I just stuffed it in my mouth. I'm like, not for you." And I drove off. I'm not even kidding you. You know me, Kane.
Yes, I do. I do. He's not
I
lying.
dug into that thing. I put the whole thing in my mouth, and I was driving away, frustrated with the mouthful of food. Like,
It was delicious.
you
Bro,
know,
I would have taken.
it's just crazy. So in my previous apartment outside, there was this like there's like three people, right? And it's a I'm assuming it's a Mexican family, right? Probably a bad assumption, but who cares? So they're outside and they have this sign. So when I first moved in, they had this sign. It was saying that my sister was just hit by a car. We need money for surgery, and it's a picture of a little girl with the head bandage in the hospital, whole thing, right? And they're out there just on their phones, walking with their sign, not really paying attention. Someone honks, they go over there, get the money, whatever. I've been there for a year. Leading towards the end of my lease, I see the same people throughout my tenure there with the same sign doing the same thing. So what did I do? I went on Amazon. I got the megaphone, and I sit on my balcony, and I said, "You are fake. You are losers. You guys are
Are
fake.
you serious?
Do not give them money." I was such a. I don't care. I have no shame. I have zero shame, and I said that, and they look up at me and they start cursing me. Puta, I fuck you, whatever, right? Cool. And I was like, "Yo, no fuck you, like asshole, right?" And so
Mhm.
I'm thinking to myself, man, that's crazy how people will use an image to get money. But then I go back to, and I said, I've never seen anything crazy like this. Then I go back to a time back in New York when I'm on the subway and this lady's using her newborn baby to get money. You probably seen this before too. When they're on the subway and they said, I have a baby. I need money to buy clothes and all that. And you're using your baby to get money, yo, I lose it.
bro.
I lose it.
Yeah,
And they
I
put
don't
the
like
baby in
that
your
at all.
face. Look, look, see, look, I need help. That happened to me. I mean, yeah, I
Mhm.
folded like a chair, bro. I gave it like a couple bucks, but I thought to myself, I'm like, damn it, it gets me every time. But that's that. It
Every time.
feeds. You have to get something that feeds into the human emotion, right?
It does. It does. You're absolutely right. And that's the thing is like you talk this hot stuff like, well, there's this tough stuff like, yeah, I'm not giving anything. And then when you see a baby or you see a child, it's like, well, how do I know they're not really in danger? How do I know they're not really hungry? So I would feel bad if I turned it down
Yeah,
and you really are starving. I'd be like, here you go. Of course, we are human beings, so it's like it pulls at the heartstrings, like you said before. I want to make sure you are, able to eat something. You don't feel like your stomach is touching your back. Like I want you to feel as comfortable as you can in your situation. And in the back
hmm
of my mind, it's like I know it might be a scam. I know it might be, but at least my conscience is clear that that I've given
true.
something. It's hard.
Yeah, but if they're walking around with the BBL while doing that,
Oh yeah, I'd be like, go to work, put that thing to work.
how much?
No, go to Cinderella's. Go to Cinderella's and go, go jump on the pole or something. Figure it out. Figure it
Oh
out.
yeah, I
Whatever you
mean,
got to do.
if you have enough to pay for a BBL, if you have enough to pay for fake boobs or lip injections, then use that, right? If I see you with a pair of Jordans on, I'm gonna think to myself, sell those, get yourself some Payless shoes, or use that money. You know what I'm saying? There's so many
Mhm.
ways if you hustle, right? But the easiest way is to pull on the heartstrings. But I remember seeing someone with a whole outfit, right? Like they have body work done, lip injections, freaking makeup on, and their nails did, and they asking for money. That's when it gets me, right?
Mhm.
And that's a big
Yeah.
one, right?
Yeah. You can't come around me looking better than I do and then ask me.
No, no, you better go out there looking like Ozempic face. So
Good point. What's funny? You mentioned the Ozempic face. Like you're seeing a lot of people these days, of course, experimenting with the I think it's called GLP-1 or something like that, or whatever it is. But
okay,
it is a trend. And look, I do see the usefulness of it because there are a lot of people that are now able to get themselves into a certain level of shape that they might have ever been able to reach before. People who are born naturally big, they're now able to get down to a level where they feel comfortable. Their body
hmm
is in a more healthy state. And they're talking about like really good long term effects from it. Like it actually improves heart health, some forms of like kidney function. Like there are a lot of benefits that tend to come from some of these treatments. So I think it actually has some more benefit. I think unfortunately, does it make you look a certain way if you do it too much? Yes, but overall health wise, I think it might be good.
you think
I
so?
think the studies will still show. We'll see what happens in 10, 20
I mean, I think get your fat ass to the gym, get on that treadmill.
years.
The fuck? Put down the
Trust me.
put down the hamburger, Trudy. Put it the fuck down. Okay. No hot dogs. No hot dogs before 10 o'clock. All right. No snacks after 9. Like, come on.
No.
You have to put in the work a little bit. Obviously, some people don't have that confidence, whatever. But do a little work. Go for a fucking walk around the neighborhood. Right.
Yeah, but there's some people who are naturally big too. Like they can't lose the weight a certain way. Like, some people it's literally in their genes to be like just like certain people have genes to be lean. There's some people who have genes to just like from
Are
the
you saying
moment
it's
they
like
hit age.
hereditary?
Yeah, it's hereditary. Yeah, like from the moment they hit like 13, 14, their body changes and now they can't go back to a certain size. And it doesn't mean everybody is like 600-pound life or some shit. But, there's people who are just a
Yeah.
lot bigger than others.
Diarrhea is hereditary.
Explain. Let
It
me hear
runs. It
this.
runs in.
Dad joke of the quarter right there, y'all. Dad joke of the
Literally.
quarter. Yo, but I saw like Sharon Osbourne's face, like, because I saw she's been on it. And I'm like, she looks unrecognizable. I remember watching her back in the day
Yo.
on that reality show. Remember when it was the whole family,
Oh, yep.
Ozzy Osbourne, and I
Yep.
was like, she's actually a pretty older woman. And like, I've seen her recently, and I'm like, what happened to you? You look nuts. But
Wasn't Amy Schumer someone else who has like Ozempic face?
I haven't seen her as of late. But I always thought she was a good looking like bigger woman. Like I never looked at her as she just looked like an average chick to me. Like, she's just a little
Right.
heavier. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there
I
was
haven't
like
seen her lately though. Has she changed a
a
lot?
little bit, a little bit. Same with who was it? One of the Kardashians. Was it Chloe? No, it was one of those girls. There was the
I think it
smaller
was
ones.
Chloe. I think it was Chloe.
Yeah, yeah. That dude looks like he just hasn't gotten any sleep and hasn't had a drop of iron in his body in like days, bro.
Oh, you talking about Scott? You talking about
Scott,
Scott?
you
Yeah.
know so many people's. It's so
Yo,
annoying.
don't ask me how I do, yo.
I can't.
And you know the crazy part is, if I'm out somewhere and somebody tells me a name, I forget instantly.
That doesn't mean
It's a
they're not memorable. I guess, right?
yo, like
Just like my
literally the
number.
times I was just talking about this the other day. Like I was talking to a group of people, and I met a few like people, a couple of girls, couple of guys, right? And then so we shaking hands, and I'm like, I'm sorry, y'all. I probably won't remember your names in the next 5 minutes. I'm just horrible with names. It's really bad.
Hey, for the dudes, I'm not gonna remember your names in the next 10 seconds. For the
Facts,
ladies,
yeah, yeah, definitely forgetting their name.
who are you? I'm gonna call you thing one and thing two.
Yo, facts. Like I don't remember anything. It's horrible. But yeah, it's when you think about like the different results that it brings, like the fast results. I think that is it's good sometimes, but I do think that people will start to use that more of a crutch, right? It becomes
Right.
a thing where it's like, well, I don't have to go to the gym. Like for the people that can lose it the natural way, they're going to just say, well, let me just get a shot. I'll just take a couple shots. And really,
Right.
all it does is it doesn't necessarily make you lose weight. It just reduces your appetite, right? So it's not like it
I
just
like to
burns
eat.
fat. No, it just literally makes you lose your appetite. So you might eat a meal or two here or there, but you'll feel full all the time. So because of that, your body starts to lose weight because you're not eating as much.
On the next episode, Ace looks like Ozempic face. I tried it, bro. It works.
Man, I don't know, bro. But that's an interesting thing though, because I think about certain things like that where they say caffeine actually can have that effect on people too sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, where if you drink too much of it, it can have some really negative effects. And I know there are some who literally they have to have coffee every day. If they don't,
Right.
they have
I know people
headaches.
like that.
And to me, I've never been a huge coffee drinker. Do I like my decaf from time to time? I'll drink decaf. People say that's shit coffee. Okay, fine.
It is shit coffee, but continue. I mean, you ain't gonna win that argument.
I know, I get it. I get it. Like they'd be like, "Oh, you little, you
You
little
little
punk!" Like
bit.
punk drinking that little punk ass coffee. Yeah, okay, whatever.
Seriously, get yourself some real fucking coffee. Put hair on your chest.
Well, you know what's crazy? Like sometimes I'll have a good like espresso or something, but it's very rare because too much caffeine just gets me like wired up, like jittery almost. Like I can't do too much of it because I
Hmm.
feel weird. But
Oh,
I do see like the benefits of it for some people. Like I used to
right.
drink black coffee every day for a while, especially when I was really on my
Good black
grind.
coffee is hard to come by.
Yeah,
Good black coffee.
like good iced black coffee. Oh,
I don't know what you mean, but I like things hot. You know what I'm saying? Keep it spicy.
in the wintertime, maybe, yeah, but in the summer, can't do it. Can't do it. Yeah.
Mm,
I'm an iced coffee kind of guy. I can do
you ice cold, brother.
hot.
Sure. And so to that point with coffee, they said that it what heightens anxiety and it disrupts your sleep cycle, from what I
Mhm.
understand, right? So when you're drinking coffee so regularly and you probably wake up in the middle of the night, can't fall asleep, whatever, that could be the case with coffee. So maybe
Yeah,
holding off on that would be coffee is a drug. I don't care what anybody fucking
it
says.
is. It
It's a
is.
drug. Just like alcohol's a drug, coffee's a drug. I truly believe that. Um, my take is, should coffee be treated like alcohol in terms of having it be like regulated, how often you can drink it, how much you can drink. Can it impair your driving? Can it do this and that? Right? Because you get shaky, you fucking on the road, your hands are just wild, and it's
Yo,
because you drink like fucking 10 cups of coffee, right?
you think
I
about it, that's a
mean,
good point. Like it really should be regulated as a like Schedule A type of drug. Where it's like if you drink too much of it, just like with alcohol, just like with marijuana, like you have too much, it can mess you up. Like it really throw you off. And I could see that. That could actually be a real thing. Like I know an anxiety because coffee actually boosts your heart rate. So because the caffeine is in it, it boosts your
yes,
metabolism and stuff, which can cause anxiety. So I can see that. Like, and like you said, for people to get headaches because they haven't drank coffee, that to me
that's
tells
wild.
yeah, that's almost like a withdrawal symptom in a way. It's like your body's going through a level
Yeah,
of You know?
I totally forgot. When I was much younger, I was not even in my teens yet. Remember the big gulp from 7-Eleven, the big gulp?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And my brother would go to the 7-Eleven, he would get the big gulp, and he would fill it up with coffee. And
Mm.
then he'll put the creamers in it, the French vanilla, all that. He'll mix it up, sugars, all the good things, right? He would drink this coffee over a span of like 4 days. I'm not even kidding you.
Wow.
I'm not even joking. And afterwards, wash it out, use the same thing, right?
Do the same thing.
He doesn't even put it in the refrigerator. It was that gross. And I think to myself, that is a problem. If my brother is doing it, I know other people are doing the same damn thing. Oh, there's so many products. And when you say caffeine, there's so many products with caffeine in it. You got sodas, you got energy
Monster.
drinks. Yes. And he also had monsters stacked up, ready to go. He would have a big gulp. He'll drink a lot of it, then have a soda, a monster to go out when we're going out to like the store or whatever, or we're going out for a walk. He'll have his monster. He'll drink his monster. When he gets back, he'll continue with his coffee. And this motherfucker was healthy as an ox. Like he would smoke all the time. He would do all these things. And I think to myself, you are so healthy when other people are trying to do the best they can to live a clean life and they getting fucked.
Yeah, it's crazy
Oh.
when you think about it. Some people hit the genetic lottery where, very rarely get sick, very rarely have certain symptoms of different things, and we put our bodies through the paces. I mean, drinking all types of crap. Like I remember when we were younger, the drinks that we would have alcoholic wise,
Mhm.
you would never drink them today because they are so toxic, like so bad for you. Remember, like the Incredible Hulk.
The Four Locos?
What's
Yo,
that? Thug Passions, which is basically like for those of you who don't know, it's Alizé and Hennessy mixed together.
crazy.
Incredible Hulks were Hennessy and Hypnotic mixed together. Remember that?
Hypnotic. Oh my god. The blue bottle, right? My god, that is
Or
cr
even like the Long Island iced tea, like that was
oh, that stuff is
dangerous, man.
tough. That's
Oh,
dangerous. No, the
bro.
Four Locos, everything you said, Four Locos is probably the worst. That
Really.
thing is like cough syrup. Have you ever tried it? Four Loko?
I feel like I've had it before, but when I was young, young.
It was mainly like West Coast when it was out, I'm
Mhm.
assuming, right? It was so bad. It tasted like fruit punch, but fruit punch and cough syrup. And when you drink it, you get fucked. They made it illegal after a while because it was just the stuff in there was just too bad, right? It was bad.
Wow.
Now they brought it back and it's less than what it was before, but it's still disgusting. Like for example, a couple weeks ago, I wanted to try it because it's been a while. I'm like, let me try it out. And I bought one from a store, and it was 7-Eleven, and I opened it up, and man, I threw it away after the first sip. Like, oh, threw it away. How did I drink this back in the day? How did I like that was one of the things I was like immature as well, drinking a mudslide, thinking that that was the coolest thing in the world. Mudslides from 7-Eleven.
Oh man, I remember
I would
those.
go with 7-Eleven for everything. They had everything.
Yep.
But it was just wild, man. Wild times.
Yeah. Yeah, the
Jeez.
stuff we used to put in our bodies, man. And the fact that our bodies recovered. You think about that, that's when our bodies were just the healthiest they could be. We had a clean kidney, clean kidneys, clean liver, like all that stuff was just churning. So we're
Facts.
just drinking whatever. And now today, you can't do that. Like I wake up and my body will tell me, like, bro, you done fucked up, right?
Yeah, you got to get fucked up.
Yo, you done fucked
You
up.
ain't moving today. You ain't moving.
Right, right. Just stay your ass in the bed. Like there was literally days I woke up, and this is recently. Man, I would say within the past like 6 months or so, where maybe I drank too much whiskey or had a little bit too much Hennessy or something like that, and I wake up and I feel like I'm on the verge of death, bro. Like if I don't get enough water into my system, if I don't like get some electrolytes in me, like you got to keep Pedialyte in the house now. Like it's at the point where you just got to keep some around just in case, because it can really mess with you.
Yeah. There was this chick that I was talking to way back when, and she always smelled like booze, and that was one of my icks with her. She'd always smell like booze, right? And it'll be she's getting out of work, and I always think to myself, like, are you taking Listerine like before you come out of work? Because you know that Listerine smell, it kind of
Mm-hmm.
smells a little boozy, but it isn't. So I see her out of work, and she smells like Listerine, and I'm like, "Yo, is that Listerine?" She goes, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, I had a few at work," and I'm like, "What?" She goes, "Yeah, at lunchtime I'll go to the bar." And don't we've done this? It's fine.
Of
We've been to the
course.
bar and have a drink before when we're at work for lunch, whatever, right? But when you're doing it all the time and you have Listerine packed up in the box in your drawer at work, right
That's
before
a
you leave.
habit. That's
It
a habit.
is wild to me, and I never got on board with that. I was like, I can't do that. Like that's
That's so
you're a
interesting you say that. I dated a girl like
functioning
that too.
alcoholic. You're
Yeah, I dated a
functioning
girl like that
alcoholic.
too. And that was my thing with her. Like, mind you, beautiful girl, right? And very statuesque, model type. You know what I'm saying? And but
Mhm.
yo, she had an issue with alcohol. Like, I remember, like, she would just be coming over, and like you could hear it in her voice. Like if she was on the phone, she would be kind of slurring her words a little bit. That was something I couldn't stand either. It's like, why are you that nice where you can't get your sentences out a certain way? Or when you come over, like you said, you smell like alcohol, or you're kind of like bumping into stuff, you're stumbling. Like that is not attractive at all. I don't care how pretty you might be. You are doing that. That tells me you have no self control. Like if I barely drink,
Right.
like I drink. I'm a social drinker. Like, and do I have alcohol at home? Yes, but I'm more of a type of person. Like it's only when I have company over that I'll actually drink. And so to see, certain women is just that's just how they are. Like they'll have 3 or 4 drinks in the car before you come upstairs, and it's just weird to me. I just
Mhm.
don't think it is necessary, and I can't be with somebody that can't regulate their intake of alcohol. Like if you're stumbling, that means you don't know your limits. You've had too much.
Yes, yes, and I,
You've
I
had too
agree
much.
with that. You have to get off the wagon. You have
Mhm.
to help your body repair, right? Because you're literally breaking yourself down by drinking so much. It's actually not healthy for you. It swells up your brain. Messes up with your memory. Your body starts to show the effects of drinking too much alcohol, especially beer, right?
Mhm.
And you and your liver just starts getting fucked. Like
Yep.
you gotta chill. If I'm dealing with someone like that, man, I'd rather just be single, right? Like that's the main thing for me is I'd rather just be single, have my fun, and do all that if I'm out there in a relationship with someone who is constantly drinking so heavily, right? To the point where I don't even know who they are if they were sober. I,
Yeah.
I don't I don't know who you are sober. All I know is I've been dating the drunk version of you, and I haven't been dating the
The real version.
yeah, and that's the so that's like one of my what's one of your icks when it comes to something that you noticed in a woman that you were dating.
That was one that we talked about. Another ick for me is someone that is a braggart. I don't like somebody that brags a lot or that wants you to know what they do every moment of the day. And we can all be accomplished. I'm completely fine with that. That's great. In fact, we earned it, right? We earned the right to be able to say, you know what, I made it this far. This is what I do. I don't like it when you offer that information unprovoked. Like if
Mhm.
nobody's asking you, why you got to tell them?
Right.
Like I've never been like that before. And I remember, I had a girlfriend who was a hater, yo. I mean, yo, you were a hater, yo. You know who I'm talking about. If you watching this right now, you know you are.
Hey, fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you. Like straight up. Like, yo, we would be I remember one time we had taken a trip. We went to like DR or some shit, and we out there, and she used to hate the fact that everywhere we went, we were able to start conversations with people, like different couples, and she didn't like the fact that I was an outgoing person, right? That's one.
Yeah, be a lameo. Yeah.
Right. I'm like, yo, now come on now. You don't want no lame. So you want somebody that can talk, that can meet people. And she was also at the same time like, but why do you have to tell them? Like, I don't like the fact you tell them what you do. And I'm like, they asked me. Like, it's not like I'm sitting there advertising. And a lot of times I felt like maybe I was holding a light up to her for not accomplishing certain things. Because to me, when
Okay.
you're with somebody, if you're both accomplished, yeah, go ahead. I'm going to brag about you. Like, if you just graduated or you just passed this hard ass course in college or in your master's program, I'm going to be like, yo, she just did her thing. Like, I'm so proud of her. And guys, wait till you hear about this. I'll do that in front of strangers. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I
And
love heightening up the people that I'm with.
absolutely, because it's like that one that says that you've picked somebody that is, up your alley, that is right alongside you, that's a partner. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like that's dope to me. Like that's inspiring to me,
Right.
and it's going to be inspiring to others. And so
Hmm.
I especially like to do that around certain people because a lot of times people wonder, oh, how are you able to even go on this trip? Can you afford it? Sometimes that's how they look at you, right? And it's like, oh no, trust me, we're doing very well for us.
So yeah, you're the opposite of like a soft launch relationship. Have you heard of that before?
Yeah, yeah.
You're like the complete opposite. I know that that's a thing for a lot of people out there when it comes to like hiding the person that they're with. by not tagging them in photos and blurring out the
Bro.
picture,
Or they put the smiley face over the dude,
smiley faced over.
or the heart eyes.
Yep, the hard eyes, and it's like, a fear of public failure versus like privacy, right? It's like, what are you gonna do? Like, if it doesn't work out, you don't want to have a post with the person that you're with, right? Because you don't feel like it's actually gonna get to the next level, right? So that's like public failure, right? When it comes to privacy, it's like, oh, you just it's a private person. Like for me, when I'm with someone, I don't care to post them all the time. I don't care to post at all. Like I post certain things because I feel like it, not because I have to, not because I want to, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, I do have a sense of privacy as well when it comes to that. But if I'm with someone and I'm going out, I'm gonna hold your hand. I'm gonna kiss you. I'm gonna tell everyone this is my partner. I'll never hide them from people. But the internet is funny. The
Yeah.
internet's super funny, right? And I don't care to have it out there like that. But when I'm out and about, work, friends, etc., you're gonna be known as my queen, my number one, the woman that walks beside me. Like that's a big one. And I just made that up. The woman that walks beside me. That's a staple right there. Shit.
Sounds like a book right there, brother.
Hey, yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what's crazy though? Like I'm kind of divided on this because a part of me understands why a person can feel that you need to show them, because if you don't show them online, it's like, okay, are you more considerate of the people who barely know you than the person you're with, right? Because to me, if you're with somebody and you break up, people's memories are very short, right? So I could post somebody
Unlike
today.
yours.
Maybe I'm speaking for myself here, but like people's memories are mad short. Like they will do stuff, and like you could post something and they'll be like, oh, I never even saw that, I don't even remember it. And I think a lot of times we care so much about what these people online who are so far removed from us might think, that a lot of times we could be doing ourselves a disservice by not showing off our mate, right? I think it's a little bit of balance. Now, do am I going to sit here and say I do that? No. Like, I'll do it at the right time, right? Like, it's not something I'm going to jump into, but you have to make sure that that
If you
person
want to
with
do it, you want to
is
do it.
worth it, right? Like, I've done it
Facts.
before, and at the same time, there's times when I haven't done it, and it's just about picking that right time. And I know some have gotten upset when they saw that I posted up other girls and not them, and
You
a
know who
part of
you
me
talk. You know about.
and a part of me is, and I understand where they're coming from, because it's like, yo, does that mean you didn't see me as worthy of it? And it's like, no, it's not even that. It's just this person, I was in such a space in my head that it was like, now's the time. Now's the time to do it. And now, granted, she was always the type of person too, where she posted me everywhere, right? You know what I'm saying? So it was cool. So I felt like, in a way, okay, I
That's her
got to do it,
personality, right? That's her personality.
right?
Like
And I
like like
felt like, okay,
do
well,
you?
I got to do, yeah.
Yeah,
Like I
do
had to,
you? I'm happy for you. Congratulations. What do you want? A high five?
right, right. And I get it. That is, in this age of social media, that means a lot. When you can post up somebody that you're with, they look at that as having all this weight. Whereas when we're
Right.
in person, if I give you a ring, that holds all the weight to me, right? Not posting you
Absolutely.
online. That's what matters the most.
I think the real indicator that you're there for them is when you're spending time with them, you're talking to them, you're showing your love, you're showing your commitment. If they have a family, you're being there for their family. If they have kids, you're being there for their kids. If it's just them and they have work, you're being there for them, you're supporting them with whatever they're doing, their initiatives. When you are spending time and you are getting to know them and you are being personable and you're listening and you're doing the things that is so authentic and rare these days, that right there is a huge indicator. And
Yeah.
if you have all that weight and they're saying that the weight of you not showing them on social media outweighs all this, then they gotta fucking go.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think that some people could put too much weight into social media. It's like it's for fun. It's for
Yep.
fun. That's literally what it's for. And a lot of people say anything I post on social media is not real. I don't necessarily believe that. I think there's a lot of truth in what people post. People don't post things that don't resonate with them. That's why sometimes when I see people say, "Oh no, I just posted that because one of my friends was going through this, or she said something about it, so I figured I would post it." And I'll be like, people ain't posting for their friends. You post
Facts.
stuff because that's how you felt. It attracted you, and that's what you saw. It just made a mark on you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, it just makes you think, like, just social media today in general it's a problem, and we have to know how to balance it.
Absolutely. 1000%.
But speaking of social media, I'm sure you've heard a lot of these terms lately these days for different dates, right? Like, or different parts of a relationship. They got terms now like gaslighting and breadcrumbing and
Never
yeah,
heard of that.
yeah.
Never heard of that.
I was reading an article and there's literally 25 different terms around dating and relationships that have been made up to, pretty much identify different things that happen in relationships.
Hmm.
So for instance, like one is called breadcrumbing, right? Now, what is
Yeah.
breadcrumbing? It says a manipulative behavior where someone engages in occasional chats and flirtatious messages but doesn't pursue a relationship. Why do I need a term?
What the hell's a how is that called breadcrumbing? What does that even mean? Like,
Because when I think about breadcrumbs, I remember when, like, you remember reading those stories from back in the day, Hansel and Gretel, where they would take breadcrumbs and lay them out to make
leave
sure
a
they could
trail.
get back to where they were. Right. It
Yeah.
was a trail. Like,
Man,
that's what I know breadcrumbs to be.
wow. I was thinking something different. I was like, maybe you need to clean off your shirt because you got breadcrumbs on there after
Right.
eating a sandwich.
Like this shit up.
Breadcrumbing. Why are you throwing it on the ground? But yeah, no, that's crazy. I never knew that would be, man.
Yeah. Like that one was very interesting. Then you got one called paper clipping. I was like, paper clipping, bro.
Okay,
And
okay,
what's
here.
crazy is,
Let me
I,
think about it. Okay, paper clipping is putting a lot of girls into one category.
oh, that's a good guess actually. No, it's actually when an ex comes back to an ex only to feel better about themselves. Now, don't ask me where the correlation is, but what they did was, so you remember Clippy? Remember back in the day on Microsoft Office, there was like the little paper clip that would pop up and ask you questions and be like, "Hey, do you need my help with this or that?" And it would
Yes.
pop up
Oh,
your screen.
wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's where they got the whole idea of paper clipping from. Like it would just pop back up and then just ask you. I'm like, that has no correlation at all. That's stupid. Like
I don't
paper
like that
clipping.
one. I like my definition better.
So let me ask you this question: what do you think the term orbiting means?
When I think orbiting, I think that I have a selection of Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Uranus, all circling me, and I get to choose which planet I want to be on.
Mm,
I want the
interesting
spicy
thought.
Mars planet.
See, you took it scientific. That's right. Like that's what I would normally do, right?
Right,
The
right.
term orbiting means following someone on social media after ending a relationship in real life, but not engaging with them. That's called orbiting. What do you think
Stupid as
cookie
fuck.
jarring means?
Grabbing the coochie too many times. I don't know, bro. I I think Trump knows that one.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah, he knows all about that one. Cookie jarring ass. Cookie jarring is when the person you've been dating has no intention of settling down with you, but keeps dipping his hand in the cookie jar, per se.
So sex.
Yeah, pretty much. Now this one can make some sense, but I mean, I'm just like,
That makes sense.
who comes up with this stuff? Like, and then so check this out. There's one called kitten fishing. What do you think that is?
Well, when I hear kitten fishing, I think about catfishing. So I'm assuming it's catfishing, but not so severe.
Actually,
Like,
that's pretty close. That's pretty close. So it says it's catfishing's little sister and refers to those who aren't lying on their dating profile, but maybe bending the truth here and there. Kitten fishing. Why can't you just say fishing the truth a little bit? That's what you're doing.
yeah,
Exaggerate.
yeah, you're exaggerators. Yeah. Who comes up? If there were scientists who came up with these things, like I would lose my shit. Like you have to go to school to come up with these stupid ass terms.
Right. And I'm like, come on, man. Like you got nothing better to do. And I want always want to know who is the person that starts off these terms. Like, where does it begin? Somebody just sitting in the room and they're like, aha, got it.
Hmm. Well,
I got it.
I think that orbiting, gaslighting, cookie jarring, and breadcrumbing were all made by women. Just
Yeah.
that's what I think.
Honestly, you would be
Absolutely.
pretty accurate in that.
Yeah.
I don't believe guys have the imagination or the capacity or the mental acuity for that matter to sit down and come up with this stuff. Because I guarantee you, I'll be looking at you like,
Well, what did I say?
what?
What just came about? No, I truly believe that. I had this conversation with a friend, and they were like, "Well, you know what they say. Sometimes you have to let them go, and if they're right, then for you, then they'll come right back." And I said, "A woman made that up, 1,000%." And then I wanted to go into this research of googling all these different sayings and determining whether or not they were made by a woman or not.
Mhm.
Uh, like a good man provides for their queen, no matter what. A good man
Mm,
listens and shuts up and does what he's told when his wife says whatever. She's always right. Even when you're wrong, she's right. All of them are made by women, thousand
yes.
percent.
Happy
Like
wife,
I'm not.
happy life. Happy wife, happy life.
Yes, and you know what? It reminds me of a skit from Key and Peele where they were talking about how to eat out of pussy, right? And they're both men, and they're like, yeah, A, la, 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 B, la, la, la. Like you got to find your alphabet and stick with it, right? After that, they went to go to the back and they took off their freaking mask, and they were females. They're like, all right, 90 down, a million to go, right?
What? Oh, I gotta see this. I
Yo,
gotta see
I'll
this.
send that to you. It's a big one. It's hilarious. I was dying, man.
You know what's crazy is I didn't really watch Key and Peele a whole lot. I did watch a lot of their skits, like the individual skits here and there,
Oh yeah,
but I never watched the show. Like I gotta get into that. I've heard it's
yeah.
really good. Really
Well, that's what I did as well. Just watch the skits. I would Google them or YouTube or whatever, right?
good.
The one thing that I did watch all the way through, obviously, was Dave Chappelle show. That was the one I watched all the way through, and that was the platform that everyone got these from. So yeah,
Bro,
he's
exactly. Like you can literally see his DNA in the Key and Peele show. Like I know he at one point even said they just stealing all my routines. Like they basically are doing the same type of show.
except he left. He could have gotten more money and stayed, but he didn't want to because God, Alexa scared the shit out of me. I had a He
It's
goes,
one of your
I'm not sure how to help you with that.
that's one of his ghosts from the past.
Nah,
You
man,
see what
that's
you see what happens, man. You see now we gotta always watch our back. We go, oh,
yeah, I do
you
that.
don't know.
Just like, I said, bitch. That was another one of those skits where I was dying. It's so crazy. She said, where do you want to eat? I said, oh, well, we can go to eat Thai. I don't want Thai. What about
Oh,
burgers? I don't want burgers. What about steak? I don't want steak. Well, where do you think? Well, I think, Italian sounds good. Well, that's why I asked you, where do you want to eat? So I said, bitch.
yeah. I remember that.
So accurate.
It really is. It really is, bro. That's a
Hilarious.
great show, man. I gotta watch that again, man. I'm gonna put that on my list too. I know we started
Yeah.
watching some older shows, like trying to. I started watching the Righteous Gemstones. I know you started too, right?
What episode are you on?
I'm on episode 3 still. I still haven't gotten past that yet. What
I'm
about
on
you?
episode 4 now. No, I'm on
Four?
episode 5. Episode 5, but
Okay.
my God,
Yeah.
they are so stupid.
Bro, I laugh. I had some really good laughs on that show so far. I'm just thinking about the first episode. I think we talked about it too, where like he goes and the two brothers are arguing, and so he goes to slap one of the brothers with the right hand, and he slaps him with the left. He's like, the brother's like,
He's just, damn it. And then the daughter was like, I'm a gemstone too, daddy. Slap me too. Slap me too. What is going on here? What
oh,
is this?
man,
What is it?
yo, that show it's got some funny acts too. I like it. I like it so.
It's mad funny because they're all religious figures, right? They have a
Yes,
church. Gemstone is the big name in the church world. And just how they are is so freaking ridiculous. The father obviously is righteous as can be
right.
so far that we've seen.
So far, right. The kids are pieces of crap.
Kids are just they're shitheads. I
They-
mean, legit. All have their individual houses. They
yes.
all go into the same compound. They have a freaking what is that like it wasn't arcade. What is that? It's kind of like their own little Disneyland that they have an
Oh yeah,
amusement
the
park.
amusement park. Yep.
Oh my god, what they're driving in the amusement park, they have gun range or their security is all shooting, everything. I'm like, what the heck is all this? And then they drive and there's three different outlets that they drive in, right? You have the main house for the father. He gets greeted by the maids and the people. Then you have another house for the son, another mansion, sorry, who's being greeted by his family, another mansion for his other son, who's not being greeted by anybody. And he's like the one who's like a kid, has arcades and toys all up in his house. Then you have the sister who is just pretty much the outcast, right?
Mm,
And the whole thing is hilarious. I need to watch more of that actually.
yo, it is funny, man. That makes me think though, like some of the shows that we watched in the past. Like I said, I'm going to start watching Breaking Bad again. I was actually reading about the main character, well, one of the characters, Giancarlo Esposito.
Oh my God,
Yo,
yes.
And so I don't know if you ever heard the story before, but he literally at one point before he got that role, he contemplated committing suicide. And he was basically at a point where he wasn't getting any more roles, so he didn't really have any money, but he had a life insurance policy. And he said, well, at least my family will be taken care of if I take care of myself. Now, of course, after the fact, you realize that once it's realized that a suicide, you're not paid out for that. He had gotten to a point where he was at such a low point that he said, "This is the only way I can provide value." And a lot of people feel like that sometimes. Like I'm actually worth more dead than I am alive. Like
That's crazy.
my life
That's
insurance
crazy.
policy is bigger than how much I make.
Yeah.
But that made me think about Breaking Bad because I was just thinking about wow, like how great of a show that was. I have to say, like, do you have any favorite characters on that show?
Favorite characters is Jesse. I mean, I have to be honest with you. Jesse is my favorite. The way he acts like a bitch sometimes,
Yes, he does.
very, very
Yes,
entitled, etc. But his favorite word, bitch, just
bitch,
comes out, bitch. Like, it
bitch.
comes out so perfectly, and I imitate that sometimes when I get upset. I'm like, "Fuck you, bitch." People look at me like, "What? Why'd you change? What changed there?" Right? I'll be talking to friends. I'll be like, "Whatever, bitch." They'll be like, Why are you saying it like that?" It sounds so powerful, so just elevated, and I need that. I need that aura, man. So I'm like, you know what? That's my favorite character. He came from the bottom to the top. I mean, he had some very intense parts and some crazy scenes in there where he had to make some tough decisions, watching his girl just freaking die, and it
Yeah,
was a tough one. And
that was
again,
crazy, man.
this has been out for many years, so this is not even a freaking something that's going to
Right.
be a
It's not a
surprise to
spoiler at this
anybody.
point. Like,
No,
yeah,
there's no spoilers, but
yeah.
it's just crazy where he came from and how he has been saved you know by Heisenberg, killer
Hmm.
name. Has been saved by him many a times, but he's also saved him plenty of times. And his way of just transforming himself from being on drugs to being clean, back on drugs again, being clean. The role that he plays shows exactly how society is. This roller coaster of being up, being down, being up, being up, being up, and then going down, and then just the way it fucks with your mind really kind of level with me. I mean, I never done drugs, but I've seen and felt his character in my own life, and I resonated with it.
That's interesting, man. That you say Jesse, like because and like Jesse is a very good character. I love the way his character developed. Like you said, he had a lot of arcs. He was up and down. He was two steps forward, one step back, and I feel like my favorite character, of course, was Heisenberg. It was Walt. Because here you have this guy who gets this life changing prognosis, right? Like his life is not going to be the same. He had the opportunity years ago to make all this money, with another company. That was the
Mhm.
part that I found was very interesting too, like how he got cut out of that other company that made all these millions of dollars, and meanwhile he was the brainchild behind a lot of it. And it just went to show that he was a regular guy. I remember reading an article and it was saying how it was very intentional the way they did Breaking Bad, like even down like from the house he lived in to the car he drove, even
Right.
to the tent they used in the film in the movies. It was very drab, right? It was very like the car was this like vomit colored green. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, and they
Yep.
did that to show that his life was not um, something to be proud of. It was like it was just
Mhm.
it was a horrible life for him. Like it was just an everyday type of thing. And I thought that was pretty interesting. But when you see him start to transform, and it's like, okay, I have nothing else to live for, and it was really all about his family. He was like,
Mhm.
I just want to make sure my family has everything they need, and if I die, I die. But at least they have everything. And when you see his
Yeah.
transformation from a science teacher into a
Crazy.
kingpin. Like he literally changed his whole persona to
Mhm.
now where it's like, okay, I can kill without abandon. I can kill without conscience
Yep.
because this is what needs to be done. I mean, he's coming up with bombs you could like he literally made a bomb that he could just toss in the air and throw down in the drug in the gangster house. You know what I'm saying? Like,
He's a gangster, man. Like, he was legit a gangster. I think
yo,
he was probably born that way and just somehow freaking sparked, right?
and it just makes you realize, like, at what point in time do our suppressions come out? Because I think a
Yeah.
lot of us we suppress certain behaviors and certain thoughts that we have because it's like that's not right. I can never do that, right?
Right.
But when you are forced into a certain situation, it's like I gotta act, and you never know what you might unlock when it's time to act a certain way.
Who's your most hated character?
I hated Skylar. She got on my
I fucking
nerves.
hate
His
Skylar
wife,
too. I hate her so much. Hate
Skylar.
that bitch.
Oh my
Hate
god.
that bitch. Hate that bitch.
She used to be like, Walt, why do you feel the need to do? I'm like, shut up, bitch. Like, I need you to take care of me. I need you to be there for me when I'm going out here putting
Shut
my
the
life on the
fuck
line
up
for
and let me get
y'all.
the money. Like, come on.
Yo, like word, like come on. This woman, oh my gosh, she pissed me off so bad.
She
And it's like all
cheated
this
on
man
the
is trying
dude
to do is
too.
make money.
She cheated on the old dude too. Like,
Yeah, like come
fucking did,
on.
did all the things, started acting like a fucking asshole. Like,
I'm
man,
like, I did like the son's character a lot too. I like him.
you like Walt Jr.?
Oh yeah, he was a good. Like, I liked him because he was a good kid and he loved his dad. He loved his
I
dad.
love, I love when he started having his little fits.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, fuck you.
No, I love that character. He played it very well, and for him to be like that was you didn't really see a lot of representation of disabled people on TV at that time.
Right,
I
he did
thought
a
he
good
did
job.
an excellent job, man. But to me, I think Gus Fring, Gus was
So Gus is, I was gonna say honorable mentions are probably Gus. I mean Saul Goodman was
yeah,
was a good one.
yeah, oh
But
yeah.
my number one honorable mention has to be Tuco. Tuco played
Ooh,
a really good part. Being the gangster he is, moving meth.
he was nuts.
I mean, he was, but he played his character so fucking
Yes,
good.
yeah, man.
They used his scene in the Avengers when it came to the Infinity Stones, right? I don't know if you've ever seen this, but there was a thing on YouTube where they're looking for the Infinity Stones and he's like smashing up the Infinity Stones and sniffing it. It was that scene where he's like, wow, kicks like a freaking, donkey,
I saw that.
mule nuts wrapped in tape, whatever, right? I want more of this.
He was
And
like
he
tight,
kicks that
tight, tight,
freaking
tight.
tight, 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 tight. And then he goes, you know, damn, bitch, this is mine. Don't you ever sell in my neighborhood again. Like, it was so fucking hilarious, man. I
Oh man, I
loved
remember
watching.
that. That's so crazy. You say I gotta find that. You gotta send that to me if you
Yeah, I
find
said,
it.
I send you mad shit on Instagram.
Yo, you do.
Yo, I'm one of those people, yo, where I will send you shit tons. If I like you, if I fuck with you, I'm gonna send you a shit ton of reels. If I don't, I'm saying, like, that's when you know that I fuck with you hard.
That's when you know it's real. That's when you know
Yeah,
it's
I
real.
well, I send you a bunch of shit. Yeah, yeah. I mean, pause, right?
I mean, yeah, right.
What's real? What's real? What are you talking about? I
Big
don't know
pause.
about all that. Yeah, I'm pause. Yeah.
No, that's so funny you say that. Like that show to me was top of the line. I like Mike too. Mike's character, the guy who
Okay.
was Saul's like pretty much muscle.
You know, Mike was good. I feel like he didn't want to be mixed up with a lot of the shit, but he was not only just Saul's muscle, he was also Gus's muscle, right? And
Actually,
he,
yeah, that's right. He did start off as
yeah,
yeah,
he
yeah,
he doesn't care as long as he gets his money, right? That's his main thing. If I
right,
got shot in the ear and doesn't really care, doesn't really
right,
bother him, he gets the job done. But he does
yeah.
not give a shit. And I think that he was a character that no one really wanted to see around because he was that like
He was
menacing.
a harbinger of death. Yeah, you knew when he was coming. It was
Yeah, you're afraid.
yeah,
I've seen Walt plenty of times, say no, please, please, like begging his life. I've
sure.
seen not just him. I've seen Saul. I do the same thing. Skylar, freaking Jesse, all of
Jesse.
them
Yeah.
were shook with this motherfucker.
And
So
yeah,
I
it's
don't know.
funny you say that because when you see like Walt and Jesse over time, it's like a father and son relationship with them. Even down to the last episodes when it's time for him to make a decision, it's either Jesse or him, and or he has to go get Jesse out, and he's always looked after him as a son. And
Yeah,
Jesse was always a fuck up. He was always doing some shit to mess
true.
stuff up, man.
True.
Always, always, and just keeping the operation moving. But to me, it's very few shows like that today, even to this day. I mean, there's some great TV out now, but
Hmm.
that show is just. overall classic.
Absolutely.
Yo, man, I think this is the time, man, where we kind of go through our interesting fact for the day. I think
Ooh,
this is the time.
fun facts.
What you got, bro?
Okay, I got one. Since we're talking a lot about what things were made for men that women have said throughout the years, such as happy life, happy wife, happy life, right? So on that topic of what was made by women, let's talk about what was made for women. So chainsaws were first invented for childbirth.
What?
They were developed in Scotland in the late 18th century to help aid and speed up the process of I'm gonna go crazy. I'm not even gonna say it, but widening the pubic cartilage, which is like well, I don't know if I can pronounce that, but widening up the pubic cartilage and removing of disease laden bone during childbirth.
Chainsaw.
Now you wonder where the chainsaw massacre came from.
Bro, I'll be real with you. I always will respect women for the fact that they give birth. And some women give birth without anesthesia. Like some will
Yo,
just do it naturally.
power, power, and I've done the probes
Mhm.
where it gives you
Oh,
the
you done
feeling of like
that? Yeah.
I've done that, aced it like a pro.
After you shit your brains out? No.
I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Like I aced it at like the first like couple seconds, and then afterwards, I'm like, oh no! I'm making all these sounds, right? And I didn't know what I was talking about. I thought I was crumping at one point. I was like, my whole body
Yo,
started to shake, man. I tell you,
man.
yeah,
I
nah,
wore those machines that they put on like the ab stimulators. I'm not sure if you ever
yes,
seen those before.
yes.
And so I figured that was somewhat close to that. But bro, the way it cinches your muscles together, I was like,
No, no, it's
God.
worse. It's so. Oh my god, it is. The pain is like you're helpless, like your body's being crushed by gravity. It is.
Oh.
It is beyond what I thought. I thought it was going to be something that was, I can deal with pain. I have a high pain tolerance. Like the way I dealt with it, they were like, "Oh, you did pretty good." Actually, compared to other guys, they're screaming, they're crying, they're telling you to stop right away. They're like, "You stuck in, and you've done it." Like I did, it was like 5-10 minutes, something like that. But yeah, I was like in it, and I was just like going through the motions of how intense it could be, like the least intensive childbirth to the most intensive. And I was going through it afterwards, man. I'll tell you right now, I was mind blown. I slept. I think I cried deep down inside. I was like, I'm never doing this again. Do not make me a woman in my next life because
Bro.
I would have to go through childbirth. I would not. I would not go through childbirth. No respect to women, but I don't want to be one in my next life
Yo.
because I would have to go through that, right? And obviously, I don't want to know what it feels like to get fucked either. But that's, but yeah. That's my interesting fact. What's yours, brother? What's yours?
No, as somebody who has sat in a delivery room a couple of times and watched the pain that women go through, oh man! And then like there's certain times like because there's machines in there that go off right around the time when they know they're about to have a contraction, and so you hear the machine go, and like you can hear it start grinding, and then that's when you know they'll squeeze your hand, like you could just see like a little tear, or they start to wince, and it just man, it's bro, it is one of those things where I can honestly say they are stronger than us. I will give women the absolute props. You are the most beautiful, strongest creatures on this planet. Like we know, we tend to like to think our pain thresholds are high, but nobody can do it like a woman can. And then multiple times in her life, you have women who will say, "Okay, I had one, I did it.
Nah.
Let's go to the next one. Let's do it again." And I'm like, "What?" Like
Hmm.
it's really awe inspiring to be real with you. It's beautiful.
I'd rather get shot by a gun. I'd rather get shot in the leg by a gun or in the arm by a gun than
Bro,
to go through
like
pregnancy. That's what I think,
I,
and
I I
that
give
shows
it
how much
I give it to
respect
you.
I have for the woman's body for going through all that shit. Like respect,
Yo,
re fucking
it's very
fuck.
interesting. Let
Yep.
me ask you this question. So my fun fact: where do you think the tiniest bone in the
The tiniest bone for some men it's the penis.
yes, I feel bad for you guys, but yes, that might be true.
Tiniest bone in the tiniest bone in the body. Tiniest bone. That's
Mhm.
okay. Hold on. All right. If we're saying tiniest bone, here we go. Tiniest bone in the body is in your foot.
Close, but wrong. So the tiniest bone in the body is actually located in the ear. It's called the stapes, and
Did you
it's
say in the
located
ear?
in the middle ear.
How the fuck am I close if I say
Called
it's in the foot?
well, meaning it is so the foot has very small bones too. But it was a good guess. That I'll say it was a good guess.
That's
So
a
I guess close would
no.
have been like if it was the leg or something.
It was
Yeah,
wrong as
that's
fuck,
that's
bro. It
close.
was wrong as fuck. Listen,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
it's east to west, brother. It's north to south. And it's nowhere close. You can't tell me, hey, A for effort. Don't do that to me. It
All
was
right, yeah,
wrong. It
you're
was
right.
1,000% fucking wrong.
You're right. But did you
But
ever see
thank you.
that
You did make
movie,
me feel good though.
Billy Madison? Did you ever see Billy Madison when he gave the answer and then the teacher was like, I feel like you've made every one of us just a little bit dumber by your response. He said, may God have mercy on your soul. And you receive no points for this. And he was like, God, a simple no would have sufficed. He was like, every one of us is just a little bit dumber.
I love that. Yep. Thanks, man. I
Man, funny.
appreciate you. You made me feel so good.
Yo, man, I had to do it, but I got to make sure I try to be encouraging where possible. But yeah, it's actually like a bone inside the inner ear, and it's stirrup shaped, and it plays a very crucial role in our ability to hear because it literally just vibrates sound. That's
Hmm.
like the sound that punctures through our ear is actually based upon bone induction. So it's literally bones just hitting each other to create sound,
What'd you say?
and that's how we're able to hear. Like bone induction in the
No.
ears, Yeah, this fucking guy. Yeah,
I'm sorry. What'd you say? Come again?
but yeah, man, bro, great pod with you today, man. And
Hell yeah, Cayne.
again, thank you all for listening. We hope you all enjoyed, and we'll catch you next week.
All
Till
right.
next time,
See ya.
peace out, guys.